Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this picture. Now there are a few tricks involved in the production of this picture, and during this video they will hopefully become clear. The subject in this case, the ice cube, is almost secondary to the surroundings, produced partly by total internal reflection. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay. So what I've got set up so far is this fish tank. So this is full of water, and what I've done is suspended the subject on a piece of fairly fine cotton. Now the subject isn't actually a real ice cube, it's a plastic one. And what I've done is drilled a small hole in the corner of the plastic of the ice cube and threaded a piece of cotton through it. So then I can suspend this in the water, like so. Now doing it this way means that it's very repeatable. I know exactly where the subject will be, and therefore I'll be able to focus on that point with the camera setup. Okay. So for this I'm using a full frame digital SLR with a 24-70 zoom on the front of it and a flash sync trigger on the top. Now this flash sync trigger can also control the energy in the studio flashes I'll be using. The camera is tethered into Capture One software, so it's easy to see the results as we go along. Okay, so if I just pop this camera on the tripod here, and I'll initially just set up the shot. So initially it's about level with the top of the water in the tank, which is not what I want. I want to be able to use the reflection that I'm going to get from the underside of the water. So I'll drop the camera down on the center column of the tripod and point the camera back up again, like so. And I think I'll just zoom that in a little, just to help me set it up. Something like that. Okay, so with that something like the right position, what I'm going to do is just turn the camera on and we'll take a test photo just to see if we get any contamination from the house lights. Turn the camera on like that, and the software has recognized the camera, and here we can see all the settings that I have on the camera at the moment. So it's in full manual mode. I have a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second, which is the flash sync speed for that camera, ISO 100, and an aperture of f8. So with those settings, I'll just grab an image. There we go. And you can see from that there is no picture there to speak of, which is what we want. Right, so for that then, I want to set up the first of the lights. So what I'll need to do is place a light behind here somewhere so that I can illuminate the water in the tank. So for that I'm going to use this Profoto D2. This is a 1000 dual mains powered unit, and on the front of that I have this 1 foot by 4 foot softbox. Okay, so we'll just place this in position about here somewhere. Point that vaguely at the tank. There we go. There we are. That'll be a bit of a starting point. Now initially I've just set that on a arbitrary energy level. So what we'll do is just grab an image and just see what we get. So I'll just turn that unit on, turn the flash sync trigger on, select the flash, and just turn that on. There we go. And now I can just grab a test image. Okay, possibly a little bright, but we can adjust that as we go along. You can see the beginnings of what we're trying to do here. So this is actually the light itself, but we're not getting any reflection on the underside of the water here. So to help me set that light in exactly the right place, so I do get a tiny amount of reflection in the underside of the water, what I'm going to do is just turn on live view, like so. And I'll turn the modelling light on that head. There we are. So with that active, what I can do now is just adjust this until I start to get a tiny amount of reflection on the underside of the water. There we go. So it is really very small amount of change, but you can see the reflection that I'm talking about there. It's this bit here. Okay, so we can dispense with the modelling light and dispense with live view. And now I'll just grab another image. There we are, that's more like what I want. So this is actually a reflection of this. But at the moment it's all very hard, there's no graduation in there. So to add some graduation, what I'm going to do is just add some 216 diffusion material. Here we are. Now I have this on this C stand. I'm just going to set this so that it's parallel to the back of the tank. Just pull that down a bit, like so. We'll just take this up in the air. There we go. Okay, so with that in position, I'll grab another image and see what we get this time. There. So instantly, I've now got a light part at the top here, a dark part, and a light part again. And the converse of that is happening in the actual ice cube itself, which is exactly what I want. What I think I might do actually is just zoom that in all the way. So I'll take that all the way to the 70mm end on the lens. Just check the focus again. Yeah, that looks okay. I'll just grab an image. There, that's starting to come together quite nicely. So we've got some nice graduation going on here. Okay, so in the original image, the light was actually blue. So that's the next stage. So in order to make it blue, what I'm going to do is add this blue filter. This is a Lee filter. Instead of having to have a large piece of filter to cover the whole area, I'm just going to place this over the top of the flash head. So just open up the softbox like this. And just place this over the front face of the flash head. There we are. So with all that in position, stick the Velcro back down. There we go. We'll grab an image now and see what we get this time. There we go, so now we've got a blue cast to the whole of the picture. Now of course I could have just done that in post-production, but because I want to actually pick out the ice cube itself, what I'm going to do is use a separate light to do that. So I'm going to place another light about here somewhere just to illuminate the ice cube just with pure white light. And for that I'm just going to use a very small head. This is the equivalent of a B10. This is one of the old B2s, which I prefer to use. Okay, so I've just put a zoom reflector on the front of that just to concentrate the light a little and stop it going everywhere. So what I'm going to do is turn off the light at the back. So I just select that head, Just turn it off and turn on this one. There we go. So again, an arbitrary energy level. I'll just give that a go and we'll set the exposure. Okay. Well, actually, I think that is slightly bright on this side for what I want to achieve. So what I'm going to do is just take off a couple of stops and just see what we get. So I'll just take 2 stops off that head. Yes, that's more like it. So now I'll just turn the other head back on again, the one at the back. And we'll fire them both together and see what we get. Yes, with that addition, now you can see all the highlights in here are actually white instead of blue, which is what I want. So for the lighting, we're almost there. There's just one more thing I'd like to add, and that is a mirror. And what I'm going to do with this mirror is just place it on this side of the tank, like so. And what this will do is just recycle some of the light from this head back onto the other side of the subject. Okay, so with that in position, once again, just grab an image. Okay, so with that in position, you can see that we've now got highlights on both sides of the cube. Right, so now it's time to start to introduce some air into the tank. And the way I'm going to do that is literally just dribble some water from either this straw or this cup back into the tank again. So just to give you an idea of what can be done, first of all, I'll just dip the straw in the water, and just with the drips from the straw, there we go. So with this, less is more. So if you do too much, it tends to be a bit overwhelming. But some of these are looking quite good. I quite like this one. Got some nice rings in here. So to get some entrapped air further into the picture, instead of using a straw, I can use this cup. So now, whilst dribbling the water, I'll grab a few images. There we are. Let's just have a little look at that and see what we got. This one looks quite nice. Yeah, I think all of those have worked very well. So now it's just a case of carrying on, and when we've got an image that I'm happy with, then I'll take it into Photoshop and do the post-production. So, grab the cup, finger on the trigger, and off we go. Okay, so I think I've got some really good images there. So we'll now go into post-production and just finish off the image. So here we are in Photoshop, and I've loaded up the file that I've selected from all the ones that we took earlier. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just make a copy of this so that I can leave the camera original alone. So I'll just right-click the mouse over the layer, go to duplicate layer, ask for a new document, and we'll just call it Ice Cube. There we go. So now I can dispense with the camera original, and I've always got that in case I want to go back. So this is the file that I'm going to edit. So the first thing I need to do is just turn it upside down. So just go to Image, Image Rotation, 180 degrees. There we go. So now with it upside down, or the right way up, depending on how you look at it, What I'm going to do next, I think, is actually look at a crop. This might seem the wrong time to do that, but I think the composition can be improved by a fairly tight crop. So what I'm going to do is pick a particular ratio, because I'm going to be using this for video, and I'm also going to take the opportunity to straighten the image up at the same time. So just running along the horizon line there with the straighten tool. There we go. And now I'm just going to bring the cursors in a little. There we go. I end up with something like that. OK, just click on OK. There we go. So with that now cropped, I can have a good look around the image. So I'll just zoom in a little. And there are one or two things that I want to change. One is here I have a reflection of what looks like my arm dripping the water into the tank. So I'll need to take that out. And also we can see quite clearly in places the cotton holding up the ice cube. So both of those need to be addressed. So to do that, what I'm going to do is to go onto layer here, right click, go onto duplicate layer and just make a copy of that, like so. So on the copy, what I'm going to do is, starting with the possible arm in the cube, we'll zoom into 100%, and just using the healing brush tool, I'll hold down the Alt key, pick a sample point, and just brush that over to get rid of that. There we are. Good. Now while I'm here, I'll also just want to brush out part of the hole that I drilled in the ice cube earlier. So we'll just again pick a sample point. Just place that in there. As long as it's broken up a little bit, it should make it quite difficult to tell exactly what it is. There we go. Yeah, good. So with that done, we can now just move along a little. If you hold down the space bar on the keyboard, it will turn into a pan tool, so you'll be able to pan around the image. So here I can see where the cotton is. So again, just picking the sample point. There we are. So with that all done, I can just zoom back out again and just see what that looks like. So that's what we had as the original, and that's what we've got now. Okay, so I also might just take out one or two of the outlying air bubbles just to concentrate the image a little. So again, using the same technique, just with the healing brush. There we go. Okay, so with all that done, this is what we had before, and that's what we've got now. And there we have it. So the total internal reflection of the tank has really helped create quite a striking effect, and together with subtle graduation in the background, the whole thing has come together to produce a piece of visual art. And I think overall that has worked very well. Okay, well I hope you liked seeing how I made that image, and if you like watching these sort of things, do click on the other images as they appear, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and click the like button. Thank you very much for watching.